Well, I think we had a great year, Derek. When you look at the big picture in men's basketball, the notion that we had two teams nationally ranked in the last week regular season weekly poll, first time that's happened in decades and maybe ever that's happened in our league. I think that bodes well. We had two teams in selection week that we knew were going to make it into the tournament. Creighton, of course, the AQ, and there was no question that Wichita State had the resume to get in. And you look at the success in the tournament. You know, Wichita State had a tough outing against VCU, a team that's got great pedigree and great tournament experience. And certainly Creighton's win over Alabama was very big for the league. The three units, the three wins, the three games that we played in were significant as well, and I think that bodes well looking at what we've got back next year. In the NIT, Northern Iowa and Illinois State both won road games. Illinois State had an incredible performance, 17 of 23 from three-point line against Ole Miss. Took Stanford to overtime on the road, both games on the road, and of course Northern Iowa, a big win over St. Joe's, a team that had beaten Creighton by 10 in Philadelphia in the NIT, and before losing a game to Drexel that they trailed by 18 in that game and fought their way back, had a chance to win it at the end. So I think all in all a very good year for the Missouri Valley. A number 8 RPI ranking, a lot of kids coming back, a lot of student athletes that are rising seniors and underclassmen that are coming back, and I think we're poised to see another rise of the league. We're really hoping that our women can get back to multiple bids, something that they did for 7 or 8 straight years but haven't done since 2002. I think we were a lot closer this year. Certainly Missouri State was in a position, had they not lost some key conference games down the stretch, they may have been in a position to gain that second bid. Creighton coming out of the tournament with a win and having a chance to beat St. John's in the NCAA tournament was really big. And the fact that we've had a great deal of success with women's teams in the WNIT. Again, we saw 7 teams in postseason play. Some really good news yesterday, this week, with UNI's Jackie Kalin coming back for a 6th year of eligibility after 2 knee injuries. I think is really great news for the future of our women's basketball. And I think we've seen some steady improvement in our women's basketball. I think the gap is still great between the elite teams, the top 8, top 10 teams nationally, and everyone else, and certainly the Missouri Valley is not in a position yet to see the kind of runs that we had in the Jackie Stiles era and Melody Howard era at Missouri State, and some great Drake teams in the early part of the last decade. Greg has the profile of many of the successful coaches that we've had in our league. He's a great competitor. He recruits extremely well. He's a program builder. Certainly we were relieved to see Greg not take a job in another conference. Greg has that personality that really helps to stimulate interest in our league. I like Greg Marshall. I think he's an upstanding person and someone who has brought a lot to the league. And one thing's for certain, he loses 4 starters from that team this year. Wichita State is going to be in contention almost every year. When you look at the recruits that he is signing and the talent that he's stockpiling in Wichita, we look forward to, with the great compensation, fan base, leadership they've got on campus, we look forward to a lot more years with Greg Marshall contending for Missouri Valley Conference championships. I think it has. Clearly, one of the more incredible developments this year is that the first team basketball writers and AP All-America teams had Doug McDermott from Creighton, a sophomore, on that team. The second team included Harrison Barnes of North Carolina, who was a much more heralded student athlete coming out of the same high school in Ames. So I think that's helped us quite a bit. I think there was some speculation in mid-February that Player of the Year award might be a pretty close race in our league. And what does that say about our league to have that kind of breadth of talent. You know, the incredible exposure that Doug got personally certainly elevated Creighton's program. I think it stimulated the rivalries in the conference, certainly Northern Iowa, the team that initially signed Doug. That is always going to be a spicy rivalry between those two. And of course, right now I would have to say that while Bradley, Illinois State, Indiana State, Evansville, Southern and Creighton are viewed as great rivalries in the league, the top rivalry right now is Creighton-Wichita State. And I think that any exposure that those two programs get helps that rivalry, which helps our league quite a bit. Well, that's nice to hear. You know, we have, I think, more than most conferences, we have a cohesive, harmonious league. There's camaraderie among our schools, and I know that when I've been to various sites and they announce scores of other Valley teams in NCAA tournament play, you hear the MVC chant from fans. Sure, we have bitter rivals in the league, but when it comes down to it, the enemy, the adversary, the opponent is not ourselves, it's those outside the league. And I think you know, we have great coaches, great campus leadership, the infrastructure in our league, the facilities that have been constructed in the last decade and more are impressive. And I think we are very blessed to have great tradition, great fan support, and a bright future.